Hey y'all. Now that that's a fifth person arrested in the Kansas mom's killing. You know the two ladies that Veronica and Jillian that they found unalive. Well, this is the fifth person. They getting younger and younger, ain't it? So if he young and he's involved and he's the fifth person, it's got to be a sixth, seventh, eighth person. It must be another person. I think it's another person involved. It may be his wife. What y'all think? Everybody else, then their wife do it, participate. Think about it. Okay? Listen to this.
Connection with the murders. This man you see right here was also now arrested. 31-year-old. He's a father of three. Paul
31.
Grice is his name. And we're told that he confessed to police yesterday that he was involved in the planning, the killing, and the burying of the moms. Also, I have some exclusive new information on how the women were murdered. I want to bring in News Nation national security contributor, retired SI.
Really goes back to that God's misfit affiliation, and that has to do with being sovereign citizens. And they feel that what they did needed to be done and was necessary because they don't trust the government, they don't believe in the government, therefore they needed to intervene. I'm not saying that's right, but I think that's where their mind's at in regards to these confessions.
The other new information we're able to confirm now, Tracy, is that the two victims were not shot. We don't know the exact cause of death or how they died, but we did confirm through the medical examiner that they were not shot. What do you make of that? Because when I first heard that, it just, I don't know, my heart went out. I'm just thinking, I think it might have been a very, very brutal killing. You kind of hoping if they were shot, it was quick and painless.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And that was something that I talked about with Dan Abrams a week or two ago, kind of really discussing why it took so long, quite frankly, to identify their bodies. And I want to be sensitive about this, but there's rumors, I don't know if it's true or not, that there was a broken hammer at the scene. And if that is the case, then it sounds perhaps they were bludgeoned to death. And that takes time to really figure out identifications with dental records. And so that's what I felt all along, is that they were not shot. They were beaten in some way, which is absolutely horrific.
Yeah, and we've also reported that there were large puddles of blood at the scene where the car was discovered.
They probably
there was
beat them
also
to
blood
death
inside the car, so
and suffocate
it's
them.
looking more and more like it was really just a brutal murder. I want to take you inside the mind of this new suspect, though, Paul Grice, and you mentioned God's Misfits, this anti-government religious cult group they were a part of. We managed to get our hands on a land record that Paul filed last summer. This was a public document, and I want to read you part of it, Tracy, because it gives you an idea of what he thought and believed and what kind of person he was. It says, I repudiate and revoke my citizenship, if any ever existed, with the legal fiction known as the United States government. I claim my children as my God-given property and subject to none other. Government did not create my children and therefore does not control my children. God created my children in their mother's womb with my sperm and are my creation, my property, and I waive none of my God-given rights or duties in the upbringing of my offspring. So this is something that this fifth suspect filed as part of a land record, but I guess this just goes back to the God's Misfits group. It kind of shows you what these folks were believing.
Right, and so what really the key where there's that legal fiction, that's how they view society. It exists not in real life. It is just simply a construct that was made by someone that they don't have to answer to. And that's really kind of what the sovereign citizens are about too, although I know it's kind of two separate groups that we're looking at here. And as a result, they have a tendency to take the law into their own hands. And I think in this case, they believed every step of the way that the legal system was taking these kids from them, and they needed to get these kids back because those kids were their property and belonged to them.
I get it now.
Simulation.
Wow,
Remember, this is a group that doesn't like the government. So I actually am thinking that they're not being compliant with the government, quite frankly, because they don't trust them, they don't believe in them, and they don't think they have any power over them. So I would be, and I could be surprised, right, that she's just rolling over and admitting everything and turning.
For some reason, they let him go.
What?
And then recently we learned this about his anti-government views. Almost exactly 1 year ago, he filed this crazy 44-page document that reads like a Kaczynski manifesto against the USA, renouncing his U.S. citizenship. But no matter what he believes, U.S. laws apply to Mr. Paul Grice, especially when it comes to murder. The sheriff tells us he's going to be arraigned a week from today, 9 a.m. So mark your calendar. Newsnation
Recorded statement from Grandma Tiffany. The confession reads, according to the affidavit, Grice was interviewed and admitted that he was a part of the planning and killing of both Butler and Kelly. Grice admitted that he participated in the killing of Butler and Kelly and their subsequent burial. And also the burial, and you remember we were out in that area where the bodies were buried, 10 feet down. It's an area that Paul Grice...
Okay, y'all. I can understand the group why they did what they did because they don't believe in the government. And they believe that everybody's supposed to have their children. Those are Veronica children. But they feel that they think that since the grandmother been taking care of the kids, they are her kids. But they Veronica kids. So they want to make sure that Veronica wasn't going to get them. Wasn't going to receive those kids. So, bitch, and now y'all remember now at the early part of this video, they said they wasn't shot. We thought they got shot, but it's evident they was beating. They were beat to death.
The answer. Again, he was not brought in. He didn't go in on his own the first time. He was brought in almost like he was going to be arrested. They did the interviews, and they released him. What they've learned between then and now, we don't know. I will say I've been talking to locals on the ground there. Not totally shocked, obviously, by this in the affidavit to begin with, but a lot of sadness because he's got 3 kids too, and now they've got to sort all of that out. So.